Right now, somewhere in your garden, there are 6 types of plants trying to feed you. Yet most of us are currently spending money to get rid of them. On average, each family spends about 15 million VND every year on various lawn care chemicals. And most of that money is used to target the very plants that our grandmothers used to call a meal. Not weeds, but a meal. Think about it. I am still amazed. Even after years of paying attention to this matter, some of these plants are even more nutritious than the vegetables you are carefully watering, carefully fertilizing, and carefully tending to. Yet they demand absolutely nothing. No need to buy seeds, no watering schedules, and not a single minute of your time. They just show up year after year and wait. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what those 6 plants are. You will know how to safely identify each one right in your own backyard. And I emphasize the word safely for a reason. I will show you warnings about look-alike plants that most other videos completely ignore. You will get a foraging schedule, what to pick and when, no matter where you live. And 3 recipes you can make today, requiring no cooking skills, no special equipment, just plants from your garden, and 5 minutes. As for the plant at the top of this list, it is highly likely. It is the very plant you just pulled out last week. Here is how we will do this. 6 plants counting down from number 6 down to number 1, along with identification methods, nutritional facts, and safety notes. Then comes the monthly foraging schedule. 3 recipes you can make in 5 minutes. And finally, a challenge I want you to complete before the end of today, along with a 30-day roadmap that I wish I had when I first started. We have a lot to talk about. Every minute is worth it. Let's begin. Number 6. Dandelion. You know this plant. You have known it your entire life. The yellow flower. The jagged leaves pointing back toward the base, looking just like a row of teeth. Then the fluffy, round seed head that your kids and grandkids love to blow all over the yard. You have spent years cutting, pulling, and spraying it, and paying for lawn care services to get rid of it. But here is the most interesting part. Just a handful of dandelion leaves provides 558% of the recommended daily intake of vitamin K, not just a little bit, 550%. More beta-carotene than a carrot, more calcium per calorie than milk, and the entire plant is edible. Leaves, flowers, stems, and roots. But the root is where the economic story gets interesting. Dandelion roots are currently being sold for about 2.4 to 2.6 million VND per kilo on e-commerce platforms. You are cutting that away for free every weekend morning. You are paying someone to come and spray it, while it is being sold for about 2.4 to 2.6 million VND per kilo right in that same week. So how do you know it is a dandelion and not one of the lookalikes? There are 2 ways. First, squeeze the stem. The dandelion stem is hollow. Second, count the flowers. Each dandelion plant sends up exactly 1 flower per stalk. The lookalike plants have solid stems, branch out, and bear multiple flowers at once. 1 hollow stem, 1 flower. That is your dandelion. My grandmother, Clara, was born in 1922. She grew up during the Great Depression, when money was truly scarce. She picked dandelion leaves from public parks, from vacant lots. Not because she loved foraging as a hobby, but because her family needed to eat. She made mashed potatoes mixed with dandelion leaves. She brewed dandelion root tea. She called it a meal in medicine. And she fed her entire family through the hardest years using plants that cost her nothing. She knew nothing about vitamin K levels or calcium stats. She only knew what worked. 60 years later, nutritional studies confirmed she was right. But I need to be straight with you about this. Before you pick even a single leaf, never forage from a lawn that has been treated with herbicides or pesticides. Dandelions have a taproot that goes down about 45 centimeters deep, like a miniature well drilled straight into the ground. That root pulls up everything, including chemical residues that have been in the soil from long ago. If you have ever treated your lawn or are unsure of a patch of land's history, let it rest for at least 1 to 2 years. This is not optional. This plant is very special, but only when you pick it from clean soil. The best time to pick the leaves is from March to May, before the flower buds fully open. The younger the leaves, the milder the taste. By July, the leaves are intensely bitter, and most people find them unpalatable. Your window is spring, while the roots are best in late fall. When the plant pulls its energy back underground, the roots become sweeter and more concentrated. Number 5. Purslane. A few years ago, a woman named Kari was doing something she did every summer, pulling purslane out of her vegetable garden and tossing it into the compost pile. Every summer, without a second thought. Then one day, her neighbor walked over, looked at the compost pile, and stopped in her tracks. She told her she was throwing away her vegetables. Kari's neighbor grew up in Mexico. She knew purslane as verdolagas, a traditional dish sold for about 50,000 VND a bunch. Her family had cooked it for generations in a classic pulled pork stew. She had quietly watched Kari compost it every summer in disbelief, and finally, she spoke up. The truth is, the numbers on purslane made me pause when I first read them. Purslane contains 300 to 400 milliliters of ALA omega-3 per 100 g. That makes it the leafy green with the highest omega-3 content on Earth. Not one of the highest, but the highest. Fish oil supplements cost about 500,000 to 750,000 VND a month. Purslane is free. It grows in the cracks on the walkway between the paving stones in the yard. It grows in bare clay patches where no other plant can survive. The harsher the conditions, the more it thrives. But before you pick any purslane, you need to know a test. I call it the snap and squeeze test, and this is non-negotiable. Snap the stem of the plant you are looking at. Observe what comes out. Clear, colorless sap. That is safe purslane. Milky white sap that looks like thin white pus. Stop. Put the plant down. That is spurge. And spurge is toxic, causing skin irritation. It can harm the eyes if ingested. Clear sap, you are good to go. There is no gray area. 3 seconds. Clear results. You might not know this. You should pick purslane early in the morning. Overnight, the leaves accumulate a natural acid that gives the plant a fresh, clean taste, almost slightly tart, like you just squeezed a small wedge of lemon over your greens. The exact same plant picked at 7 a.m. will taste completely different at 3 p.m. Picking early in the morning is not just a habit. There is real science behind it. Peak season is from July to September, the hottest, driest stretch of summer. The weeks when your tomatoes are struggling, your herbs are bolting, and everything in the garden seems to be suffering. That is exactly when purslane thrives. The worse the conditions, the better it does. Before moving on to plants number 4 through 1, I want to take 30 seconds to answer a question I know some of you are wondering. Why have most people never heard of any of this? If these plants are so nutritious and completely free, then why isn't this common knowledge? The answer is not complicated at all, and it is not a conspiracy. It is economics. In 1620, the Mayflower intentionally brought dandelion seeds across the Atlantic as a food crop. The settlers knew exactly what dandelions were. They brought them because they intended to use them as food. Native Americans cultivated lamb's quarters as a seed crop for generations. It was not a weed, it was a staple food. Then came the 1950s and 1960s, when herbicide companies began marketing the image of a weed-free lawn as a symbol of status and prosperity. The perfect green carpet. No dandelions, no clover, no chickweed, just uniform grass maintained by chemicals. That marketing was phenomenally effective. The plants themselves never changed. Only the narrative around them changed. Today, the global herbicide market is worth nearly $45 billion, projected to reach $70 billion by 2030. Your lawn care bill is just a tiny fraction of that number. But the bills of millions of families multiplied over 50 years have built one of the most profitable industries in agricultural history. This is not a conspiracy. It is simply economics. To understand it, you just need to look at your garden with a different set of eyes. And that is exactly what we are doing right now. Number 4. Lamb's quarters. The easiest way to identify lamb's quarters requires no special knowledge, nor does it require tools. Take a young leaf. New growth is always easier to read. Flip it over and look. You will see a coating that looks like the leaf was just lightly dusted with a silvery white powder, as if someone held a flour sifter and dusted it from afar. That coating is real. It is consistent, and it is the fingerprint of this plant. No other common plant in your garden has that coating. Once you know what to look for, you will recognize it instantly. Lamb's quarters contain 4.2 g of protein per 100 g more than spinach. The taste is mild and earthy, slightly mineral, not harsh, not bitter, just a pleasant, mild green flavor. Think about it. It is like wild spinach that can actually grow in the summer heat. Regular spinach usually bolts and turns bitter when it gets hot. Lamb's quarters, on the other hand, thrive in that heat. When your spinach has given up, lamb's quarters are at their peak. But there is a look-alike plant to watch out for: black nightshade, especially when young before it produces berries. The difference is very clear once you know it. Black nightshade leaves are smooth, oval-shaped, and have absolutely no powdery coating. The surface is smooth on both sides, and as it grows, it produces small green berries that turn black. If you see those berries, stay away. Black nightshade berries contain solanine, which, simply put, is a toxin. If you want to preserve lamb's quarters for winter, it is very simple. Blanch the leaves in boiling water for 1 to 2 minutes, immediately transfer them to an ice bath, then roll them into golf ball-sized portions and put them in the freezer. They keep for months and can be dropped straight into soups or stir-fries without needing to thaw. A summer harvest preserved this way can give you fresh greens in the middle of January from a plant that cost you nothing. The season starts in June. Lamb's quarters love the sun and heat. It is the wild spinach of summer, available right when most cultivated greens have given up. Number 3. Wood sorrel. Wood sorrel has a feature that makes it instantly recognizable and truly beautiful. The leaves fold along the midrib just like butterfly wings closing, or like a small heart folded in half. The heart-shaped leaves grow in clusters of 3, and they fold up slightly when the sun is too harsh, and also at night, as if the plant is resting. The small flowers are yellow. The seed pods stand upright on the stalks like tiny candles. As for the flavor is what surprises people the most when they first taste it. Bright and clean. An unmistakable lemon flavor, like a natural lemon drop, as if someone added something to it. But in reality, there is nothing. White clover grows in many of the same places as wood sorrel, so some people confuse them, but telling them apart is very easy. Clover has oval-shaped leaves with a distinctive white V mark, like a little check mark on each leaf. Wood sorrel has folded heart-shaped leaves with no markings. 2 different species, both are edible but clearly distinct. Now, I want to be straight with you about wood sorrel because, I think honesty is more helpful than hype. Wood sorrel has a high oxalic acid content. That is what gives it that bright lemony flavor. For most people, using it as a garnish, sprinkling a pinch into a salad, or tossing it into a smoothie is perfectly fine. But what if you have a history of kidney stones, gout, or liver disease? Then oxalic acid is something to be mindful of. Keep portions small, at a garnish level rather than a full serving, and consult your doctor first. This is not a reason to avoid this plant. It is a reason to use it sensibly. It is best eaten raw. Heat completely destroys the flavor. If you cook wood sorrel, you are left with nothing. Use it fresh, sprinkle it on salads, blend it into cold smoothies, or use it anywhere you need a splash of lemon juice. The season is from April to September, especially in shady areas where the soil retains a bit more moisture. Your garden is a free pharmacy that has been mislabeled for 70 years. Number 2, clover. You have walked past it every day of your life and probably never given it a second thought. The leaves are oval-shaped, a white V mark on each leaf. The compound flower heads, white or red, look like soft little globes. Dried red clover flowers sell for about 250,000 VND per 28 guelfi at herbal shops. That works out to about 8.8 million VND per kilo. They have been used in traditional remedies across Europe, Asia, and North America for centuries. In teas, in salves, in preparations that predate the supplement industry by generations, your garden is producing something worth 8.8 million VND per kilograms. Yet you are mowing it down. But here is the most interesting part, and it has nothing to do with eating. Clover fixes nitrogen from the air directly into your soil. Imagine this. Clover roots shake hands with a special group of bacteria in the soil, forming a team dedicated to pulling nitrogen from the air and releasing it back into the soil. In a form that plants can use, like a tiny fertilizer factory operating for free right beneath your feet. A lawn with clover will feed itself, requiring less fertilizer. The grass grows stronger and more resilient, simply because you stopped fighting the clover that was trying to help it. What if you worry the neighbors will look and think your yard is neglected? I understand that neighborhood expectations are real. Here is how to handle it. Use an edger or metal lawn edging to create a crisp, clean boundary around the clover area. Mow everything at a height of about 8 to 10 centimeters. As soon as you add a clear border, the human brain reads what it is seeing as intentional landscaping rather than neglect. We didn't just make this up. Professional landscape designers do this all the time. A perfect boundary tells everyone, this is a deliberate choice, which it truly is. How to dry clover flowers. Pick them when the flowers are in full bloom in the morning before it gets hot. Spread the flowers on a drying rack out of direct sunlight to dry for about 48 hours. Store in an airtight glass jar. That's it. You will have clover tea for the whole winter from just one morning of foraging. The season is from March to August. Only pick the flowers in the morning. And number 1, the plant you walk past and probably pull out all spring long. Chickweed. Here is the identification method that makes chickweed unmistakable for anything else once you know it. Look at the stem. It is round, and running along one side of the stem, you will see a single line of fine hairs, a narrow strip of fuzz on an otherwise smooth stem. But here is the best detail. That line of hairs switches sides at every leaf node. Every single time. As the stem grows and produces each new pair of leaves, the line of hairs shifts to the opposite side. It alternates back and forth as the plant grows up. No other common plant does this. Once you spot it once, you won't be able to unsee it. It becomes instantly obvious. Now for the most important warning here. Scarlet pimpernel. This plant has a square stem, not round, and is completely smooth. with no line of hairs. The small flowers are salmon-colored, sometimes described as orange-red. Scarlet pimpernel is toxic to both humans and pets. If you are looking at a plant with a square, smooth stem, leave it alone. Round stem with an alternating line of hairs. Safe chickweed. Square, smooth stem. Walk away. It's that simple. The flavor of chickweed is mild and fresh. Most people describe it as tasting like sweet corn with a hint of light grassiness underneath. Not strong, not bitter, not overpowering. It blends into whatever you put it in, adding nutrition without competing with other flavors. You might not know this. A single chickweed plant can produce up to 800 seeds, and those seeds can sit in the soil and still germinate for up to 10 years. This is exactly why chickweed always comes back. You pull it in April, and by May it is right back again. It is not being stubborn, it is just incredibly good at its one and only job. And that ability means you will never run out of it. The season is from February to May. Chickweed is the first edible green of the year. It pops up when almost nothing else will grow, before the ground fully warms up, before most plants even begin to stir. If your garden has chickweed in February, that is free food. While everything else is still hibernating, the earliest green of the foraging season is here, and it is free. Now, let me give you the foraging schedule because knowing what is available will change how you plan. February and March belong to chickweed. It pops up first before there is competition, and is most nutritious before the warm season pushes it to grow vigorously. From March to May is the season for dandelion leaves, before the leaves turn bitter from the summer heat. This is the golden window. Pick the young leaves near the center of the plant, before the flowers bloom. From April to May, wood sorrel and clover really come into season, and they last all through the summer, into early fall. From early summer to September is the season for lamb's quarters and purslane. These are the wild plants of summer that appear in the heat. In dry patches of soil, where summer crops struggle. They peak right when cultivated vegetables are hardest to grow. Late fall, after a light frost, is when dandelion roots peak. The plant pulls its energy down underground, and the roots become sweeter and more concentrated. That is when it is worth harvesting. You will never run out of things to forage. The year naturally divides itself into distinct seasonal windows, and these plants move through them in sequence, almost as if they had coordinated it with each other. If you are in a cooler climate, shift everything back 2 to 4 weeks. If in a warmer climate, shift it forward 2 to 4 weeks. And note that dandelions might go dormant in the peak heat and then pop back up in the fall. Now for 3 recipes requiring no cooking skills, 5 minutes each. Recipe 1. Chickweed pesto. You need about 2 cups of fresh chickweed, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a small handful of nuts, pine nuts, walnuts, or sunflower seeds. Use whatever you have, 1 clove of garlic, and a pinch of salt. Put it all in a blender. Blend until smooth. That is it. Spread it on toast. Toss it with pasta. Use it as a dip or in a sandwich. Up to you. It keeps for a week in the fridge in an airtight container. The flavor is mild, herbaceous, clean, green, and bright. Recipe 2. Purslane and tomato salad. Take a large handful of fresh purslane, just the leaves and tender tips. The thick stems are a bit chewy, so most people discard them. Add a ripe tomato, roughly chopped. Drizzle with olive oil. Squeeze half a lemon. Add a pinch of salt, toss well, and eat immediately. This is a traditional preparation method of the Mexican people. It appears in many cuisines across Latin America and the Middle East. That shows you that cultures that maintained a connection with this plant independently discovered the exact same things. 3 minutes, No cooking required. The flavor is amazing when the tomatoes are good. Recipe 3. Dandelion Root Tea. Dig up dandelion roots in late fall after the first frost, when the roots are thicker and sweeter. Wash them thoroughly. Cut them into small pieces about 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters long. Spread them on a baking sheet at 350 degrees, 175 degrees, for 15 to 20 minutes until they turn dark brown and give off a slightly earthy, roasted aroma. Then steep a pinch of the roasted roots in hot water for about 10 minutes. Strain and drink. The flavor is earthy and mild. Many people describe it as being like a smooth, mild, caffeine-free coffee. Rich in inulin, a good type of fiber that specifically feeds beneficial gut bacteria. It is like you are sending a meal down to the army of helpful microbes in your gut. This is exactly what dandelion root supplements are selling for about 2.4 million VND per kilogram. And you just made it yourself for free. Before wrapping up, there are 5 mistakes I want you to avoid, because knowing what not to do is just as helpful as knowing what to do. Mistake 1. Confusing spurge with purslane. Always do the snap and squeeze test. Clear sap. Safe. Milky white sap. Stop. 3 seconds. No exceptions. Mistake 2. Foraging near chemically treated areas. Notice the yellowing grass at the edge of the lawn. That is a sign it has been sprayed. Look out for marking flags, those little colored stakes that lawn care services plant after a treatment. And pay attention to the chemical smell in the air after a rain. When in doubt, do not pick. Mistake 3. Picking dandelion leaves in the middle of summer. By July, the leaves are intensely bitter and truly unpalatable. Spring is your window, March to May. If you miss it, wait until next year, but the roots are a different story. They taste better when exposed to the cold, making them worth harvesting in late fall. Mistake 4. Pulling up the entire root when foraging. Don't. Use scissors or snip cleanly just above the root crown. The central growing point, the plant grows back faster from a clean cut. The soil around the roots stays intact, and you will be able to harvest multiple times from the same plant all season long instead of just once and losing it. Mistake 5. Eating a large portion of wood sorrel all at once. A garnish pinch sprinkled on a salad is perfectly fine. A full bowl of pure wood sorrel is not. Oxalic acid builds up faster than you think. Small amounts. Diverse diet. That is the right way to do it. 6 types of plants that cost absolutely nothing are currently growing right in your garden right now, whether you invited them or not. Our grandmothers did not call them weeds. They called them a meal and medicine. Grandma Clara picked dandelion leaves in the park to feed her family through the Great Depression, not knowing she was doing anything remarkable. She was just doing what was necessary. Knowledge made her actions obvious. The recognition that these plants have names, uses, and value used to be common knowledge in her generation. It has become rare knowledge in our generation. Not because the plants changed, but because someone figured out how to profit from our ignorance. The only thing that changed is the people selling you the chemicals to get rid of them. Here is your challenge. Before the end of today, not tomorrow but today, grab a small bowl, step outside, and find a dandelion in a spot you know for sure hasn't been sprayed. What if you aren't sure about any spot in your own yard? Simple. Just walk a few blocks to a park or a roadside area you know hasn't been treated. Find a dandelion, pick the 3 youngest leaves, the innermost ones near the center of the plant. Wash them under the tap and taste them. That is your first foraging experience. 5 minutes. No tools needed, no skills needed. Just you and a plant that has been there all along. I have prepared a free 30-day foraging roadmap in 4 phases. Week 1. just identification. Walk around the garden with this video and learn to recognize the 6 plants without picking anything. Just observe. Week 2. Start harvesting small amounts, a handful at a time from a place you know for sure is clean. Week 3. Cook a meal using something from your garden, just one meal. Week 4. Preserve your first batch for winter. The link to download the roadmap is in the description below. And please leave a comment right now. Out of these 6 wild plants, which one is taking over your garden right now? Which one is dominating? I read every single answer. The comment with the most likes will become the topic of the next video. So tell me what you are dealing with, and we will tackle it together. Because the laziest garden you can possibly have is the one that is already right there. You just need to stop fighting it. Happy gardening. If this story changed the way you look at the weeds in your garden, please subscribe and like the channel. We are unearthing the history they tried to bury. Plant the future. The next treasure will be revealed soon.